Okay guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. All right guys, I'm back and I see you are as well. It is Friday, January the 31st, and it's 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over the Q posts from yesterday and today. That's what we're going to be doing in this video. Hopefully I can fit it all into one video. If not, then I'll have to break it up. But I do have another video to do after that. So let's just get right in there. Now, we're going to start from the Q post from yesterday, and I do have some people to thank, but I'm going to leave that to the end. So let's get started. All right. Now, this is the first drop from yesterday, January the 30th, and this is drop 3806. Title is To Be Determined, and the very first thing we're left with is a link, and then it says impeachment end. Attempts to send new articles to Senate to delay? Yes. State of the Union? Boomerang. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Now, if you are American and you do not recognize that quote from the national anthem, then, well, I have to wonder. But I think we all know where that is from. So let's take a look at this, and we're going to take a look at the link that Q has left us. Hopefully. Let's do this. There we go. All right. Now, this is from Carly, and it says, "This is quite a bombshell right before Iowa caucuses. Sorry, creepy quid pro Joe." Yeah. All right, so let's listen to what Lindsey Graham has to say here. This is 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and we're going to play it in its entirety.
And still find that the evidence would suggest
with the president discussing what he described in effect as a quid pro quo. Yeah. Why not hear from John Bolton to describe that?
I can assume the following: that the president suspended the aid for a period of time to make sure the Bidens were looked at by the Ukraine, and that the Ukrainians would look at allegations of election interference in 2016. What has been clear to me in this trial, that there's every reason in the world to want to look at Hunter Biden's conduct, that the public purpose that we're talking about is that when Joe Biden, my friend, got up in front of the Ukrainian parliament and said the time for sweetheart deals is over in the energy sector, his son receiving $3 million from Burisma undercut that message, and that will be pursued outside of impeachment. That to me is a legitimate point of inquiry, even if you assume the facts most favorable to the government. And this is not a crime. This is a partisan impeachment. And I'm hoping a few Democrats will say, I don't like President Trump, I don't agree with his policies, but we should never do this again, because the House in Republican hands, trust me, could do the same thing. And I may find myself in a position of where partisan impeachment comes to the Senate involving a Democrat, and I hope I would rise to the occasion.
Sir, on what do you base your increasing optimism that you'll block witnesses?
Everybody believes that there's a scintilla of evidence that the Bidens were involved in business practices that undercut U.S. foreign policy interests in the Ukraine. The manager said this is a hoax, it's been debunked, it hasn't. If there's not a scintilla of evidence, I would argue if you can find a scintilla of evidence, then it makes the president's concerns reasonable, non-personal, and all you need to do is show a public motive, not an exclusively, solely personal motive. I buy what Dershowitz has said.
Have you heard there were fewer than 4 votes for Republican votes?
I think Mr. Dershowitz says...
Buffering. Don't you love buffering? Well, I mean, that pretty much told us what we wanted to know anyway. Let me see here. I just wanted to make sure that my internet was still connected, because you never know when there's cats around. But we're not going to play the rest of that. It's pretty much there, what we needed to see there. And we're going to go back here to Q. And I wanted to read this by Dio Presso Liber, goes by Sun Q2 on Twitter, and is a great person to follow. Impeachment coming to an end. So what do Dems in Congress do? Attempt to send up new articles of impeachment, of course. Will POTUS present his case to the American people during the State of the Union? Time for a boomerang. Karluska P, which is the Twitter that we just looked at, links to an interview of Senator Graham discussing viability of claims against Biden. Is tomorrow the day of days? Q mentioned in 131-2018 post. 131-20 may be the day the Senate votes to free POTUS from impeachment. I think this could be the day of days. Does the 56 exclamation points represent the number of senators voting against impeaching the president? 53 Republicans plus a few Dems. Big day tomorrow. Now, this is the 30th. Today is the 31st. I haven't seen that it's been such a big day, because now they're wanting to extend it to next Wednesday and then hold the vote whether more witnesses are in fact needed. And of course, they're not, because really, if they can't present their case, they should have already had that case summed up before it went to the Senate. That's the idea, not for the Senate to do all their work, which of course we know there's nothing there. So if there was something there, believe me, they would have found it, because the Dems, want to indict him for anything. I mean, gosh, he chews gum on the wrong side of his mouth. We've got to impeach him. I meant impeach, not indict. So yeah, this is, I don't know what's going to happen here. I do think it's going to be thrown out, but are the Democrats going to stop at that? No. They'll just go back to the drawing board and draw up more articles of impeachment. But I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I believe that he will be exonerated, the president, that is. And because I don't think they don't have the number of votes they need to be able to call more witnesses. And, it's really fallen apart. Like, it's embarrassing if you listen to the lawyers and so forth on Trump's side. In the Senate, arguing, I mean, they pretty much destroy any argument the Democrats had. So, and it's embarrassingly obvious to everyone. Even people that aren't for the Republicans can see what's happening. So there you go, and on we go. All right, this is the next one, 3807 from yesterday, January 30th, and this says, resignations, public being sheltered from the full extent of their crimes. Now, who's he talking about? Well, we're going to see. Now, he put in this by an anon, and it's a question. Are they going to continue to hide behind sexual misconduct, or will the truth come out? Then Q responds and says, sexual misconduct is the public shelter to accept resignation. Watch those announcing 2020 presidential running. You cannot attack a political opponent. None are protected. None are safe. Q. Now, when he's saying, just think about how many people have resigned under, and not just political, I'm talking across the board, CEOs, all of this so-called misconduct, sexual misconduct. What Q is telling us here is this is a cover for something else, because it's the least of their crimes, but it's a cover. It is, and this anon is asking, are they going to continue to hide behind sexual misconduct, or will the truth come out? And Q is letting us know it's the public shelter to accept resignation, because you can't just, if you're a CEO, you can't just, say, you know what, I'm stepping down. people don't generally do that unless it's, well, I'm moving on and this is whatever, but not like this. There's been so many heads of companies step down. Well, since this started in 2017, it's absolutely astounding how many people have stepped down. So anyway, I think, that's pretty much common sense. I think everybody knows that all of these guys, maybe there has been sexual misconduct, but there's a lot more too. So this is a public cover. They can just say sexual misconduct and step down without, the reality of everything being known. Now, whether or not they will face the music at some point, I hope, but we'll see. Then Q beneath here said these people are stupid. Yes, I would tend to agree. If what I've been seeing over the last few years is any indication, I would agree that yes, they're not blessed with an abundance of brain cells. All right, now Annan asked, now this is from Lisa May Crowley, and no, she's not any relation to Aleister Crowley. Somebody wrote that in one of the comments, and no, she is not. She is a veteran and a patriot. Annan asked on 19th of September 2018 if retiring CEOs and elected reps were going to keep using sexual misconduct as a cover story for resignations when their crimes are much worse. Those running for president think it protects them from justice. They, like Biden, will claim political attack. And of course they will. He's telling us right here to pay attention to who's running or who will run, because I'm not 100% convinced that Hillary's not going to jump in, really, because what they have doesn't look so good. Well, neither does Hillary, but I'm just not 100% convinced that she's not going to do that. I'm not 100% convinced that Michelle Obama isn't going to do it as well. Don't know. But it says resignations, public being sheltered from the full extent of their crimes. And then it says watch those announcing 2020 presidential running. You cannot attack a political opponent. And I think that truly is why some of them ran, because they do have something to hide. And this kind of protects them in a sense from being attacked, because they can say, well, he's just attacking me because, he's afraid that he's going to lose to me. Right. Yeah. As if Trump has anything to worry about losing. Well, he does, but only because of cheating. Like they'll cheat him out of it if they possibly can. But in terms of popularity, there has never been a president that sells out stadiums wherever he goes. However many rallies that he has, he can pack them out with people waiting outside. And somebody asked somebody in Wildwood, New Jersey, that was waiting outside and said, you must realize you have no hope of getting in. And he said, yeah, I do, but my being here sends a message. Isn't that awesome? How unselfish. Because, yeah, he knew, yeah, I'm way back here. I'm not going to get in, but I'm staying here because I'm sending a message. That's awesome. All right. Now, let's go on. We're on the next post, 3808. 3808. New title to be determined. It's new title to be determined. And there is a link here that Q has left us to look at, and we're going to do that in a second. And it says worth remembering, whistleblower source 1 and 2 NSC. Now, what's he talking about? We're going to see. We're going to find out. Sessions Justice Department has 27. Now this is an old article. This is from November 15th, 2017. At this point in history, Q had already been posting for 17 days. 17 days Q had been posting at this point, and we have this article by Fox News. Sessions Justice Department has 27 investigations into epidemic of leaks, and not the kind of leaks you put into soup. I love those leaks. All right. The Justice Department has a whopping 27 open investigations. Now remember, this is old. This is 3 years old. Into leaks of classified information with a political motive, Attorney General Jeff Sessions revealed Tuesday. That's 3 times more than the agency has had in the 3 years prior. The nation's top law enforcement officer gave new details on the active probes during his highly anticipated testimony before the House Judiciary Committee. Leaks have reached epidemic proportions, Sessions said. We have 27 ongoing investigations. Some of those involve leaks before President Trump took office and some after. Sessions added, but before that, it was only 3 per year. There were 9. There are 3 times as many this year as in the entire 3 years before being investigated. Representative Ron DeSantis pressed Sessions over whether anyone had been held accountable criminally or administratively for leaking information against the Trump administration with a political motive. Sessions responded that the individual in Georgia had been charged. Sessions was referring to former National Security Agency contractor Reality Winner, who leaked a classified intelligence report containing top secret level information. The report, according to the Justice Department, contained classified defense information from an intelligence community agency. Winner was an avid supporter of Senator Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign. Things that make you go, It cannot be allowed to continue, and we will do our best effort to ensure it does not continue, Sessions said. The stepped-up investigations come amid pressure from the White House. President Trump criticized Sessions in July for being weak on such issues. Attorney General Jeff Sessions has taken a very weak position on Hillary Clinton crimes. Where are the emails and the DNC server and intel leakers? Trump tweeted this summer. Following the president's comments, Sessions held a press conference with Director of National Intelligence Dan Coats, calling for an end to the leak. For those out there who may be listening or watching these announcements, understand this. If you properly disclose classified information, we will find you, Coats said at the time. In July, the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee released a report that revealed the Trump administration was facing an alarming and unprecedented cascade of media leaks that posed a potential danger to national security. The Republican-authored report estimated that the administration has dealt with roughly 1 leak per day. The report stated that leaks flowed about 7 times faster under the Trump administration than during the first 126 days of both Obama's and George W. Bush's presidency. And that's it for that. So let's come back here. And he's saying, worth remembering, whistleblower, source 1 and 2, NSC. So I think he's saying source 1 and 2. I believe he's saying the whistleblower is source 1 and there's a source 2 at the NSC. But I could be reading that wrong. But that's how I take it. Now, I could be wrong because I'm a little bit confused about this. Whistleblower, source 1 and 2, NSC. National Security Council is what that is, but I'm not sure. So we're going to have to move along. And if you guys have any better inclination of what this is precisely meaning, I mean, he's saying there's 2 sources, right? We know that. The whistleblower is 1 source. So he's saying there's another source, but I'm not sure that this link made that abundantly clear. Not to me, but then I've had a little bit of an off day today and yesterday, so it could be just me. I fully understand that. I fully, accept that responsibility. It could just be me. All right, well, let's go on to the next one, and it is 3809. It's new, and the title is To Be Determined. And again, this is from yesterday, and it says, this is from Anonymous, Pelosi claims Trump violated the Constitution in weekly press briefing. 27,810 views streamed live 89 minutes ago. Speaker Pelosi holds her weekly press briefing. And down here, Q responds to that and says the Supreme Court is to hear cases regarding the legality of impeachment articles drafted by the House. Clean record. So what Q is saying here is that, while Pelosi's flapping her gums, which is what she does, and she likes to play with her dentures and all that, while she's doing that, the Supreme Court is going to be hearing whether the articles of impeachment that the House sent to the Senate are even legal, because it doesn't contain any crime. You can't just say, basically, what they're saying in this is, we don't like him. We want him out. I mean, abuse of power? Are you kidding me? How many presidents have been accused of that? Many. None of them impeached. So, this is a little bit disconcerting. And what he is saying is that if the Supreme Court, rules that the articles sent from the House to the Senate are not legal, those two articles that they sent, then Trump will have a clean record. It will just be wiped off. So, Pelosi's always going on about he's going to be impeached forever. Well, we'll see about that. Nancy. Nervous Nancy. I'm getting a little nervous. I saw that she was taken out by somebody, was kind of assisting her out of the courtroom, and she didn't look good. Did not look good at all. Now, whether this is just nerves or what have you, I don't know. Or if she's actually ill, I don't know. Anyway, so failed to support Constitution. They didn't, and here's the second thing he's saying. They didn't support it. They didn't provide support to these two articles. So not only were these two articles illegal, there's no crime in there. It's like kangaroo court on steroids. And so, he's saying, well, once the Supreme Court hears this case, they may rule that the impeachment articles are not legal, and so the record will be clean. And it's not just the fact of the legality of the two articles, it's the fact that they failed to support them. So not only did they send two shoddy articles of impeachment to the Senate, but they can't support it. There's no evidence to support what they're saying. So, failed to support treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Yeah, that's what it has to rise to the level of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors to be legal. I mean, you can't just impeach someone because you don't like them. I don't like your hair, and I don't like the fact that I think you're orange, so let's impeach him. You can't do that. There's it's laid out in the Constitution, and this does not rise to the occasion of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. He hasn't done anything wrong. This is partisan politics, and Q is pointing that out. So let's take a look at Pelosi. I'm sorry to do this to you guys. I really am, but we don't have to listen to the whole thing because I've pulled out, or I'm going to forward to the relevant part, so we don't have to listen to her flap her gums and go, you know what I mean. I know I'm being mean, but
by dint of their content,
okay.
Approach 54 to 30. He can address both of those things. The American people recognize that he is attacking protections for people with pre-existing conditions, and that's really vital. That's 125, 30 million families. And again, we hope he hasn't.
It's going to get to the part.
Big pharma on this. So there we are. Again, we are very proud of our legislative agenda, which I'm happy to go through again if you wish. But I also am very proud of our managers. We believe that they have.
She's proud of the managers, the impeachment managers. Really? Wow. All right, let's continue.
Been magnificent custodians of the Constitution.
Oh, magnificent custodians of the Constitution. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Until you realize she's talking about Schiff and Nadler, and Schumer. What? Magnificent custodians of the Constitution.
By dint of their content, their presentation, their historic perspective, and their tone, they had made us all proud. And I've told our colleagues they give us a magnificent example to follow. And they do so in the face of the president's team that's there to dismantle the Constitution of...
Wait a minute. The president's team is there to dismantle the Constitution? I thought this was an impeachment trial. Wow. So they're just there to dismantle the Constitution. They're not there to decide on the articles or to decide if there's merit there or anything else. They're just there to dismantle the Constitution? Wow. Wow. I didn't realize. Did you realize that? Don't think anybody did.
The United States. And some of them are even lawyers.
And some of them are even lawyers. What is wrong with this woman?
Imagine that you would say ever of any president, no matter who he or she is or whatever party, if the president thinks that his or her presidency, in this case his presidency, is good for the country, then any action is justified, including encouraging a foreign government to have an impact on our elections, which is
already proven to be false. But she keeps repeating it because she thinks if she repeats it, it'll suddenly become true.
What our founders were opposed to, and they feared. The day we were bringing the articles to the floor, I quoted the night ride, Paul Revere, 18th April 75, hardly a man is now alive knows that famous day and year. Those of you who remember Longfellow's poem know that in there he says the English are coming, the English are coming. We'll let you know when it's finally killed by sea. In this case, the Russians are coming. The Russians are coming. And the president has led a clear path for them to interfere.
So then she goes back to the Russians. The Russians are coming. The Russians are coming. And Trump created a clear path for them to interfere. Wait a minute. All of this has been disproven. Doesn't matter to her. She just keeps repeating it, thinking that, you know what, I just repeat this. It doesn't matter that none of it's true. It doesn't matter that I sound absolutely ridiculous. Doesn't matter to her. Back to the Russians. Well, Ukraine didn't work. Let's go back to Russia.
Once again, in our elections, as they are currently doing.
They're currently? That's what she's saying. She said the Russians are currently interfering in our election. Well, should she not have to provide proof? That's a very serious allegation.
I said that, as Longfellow said then that, fate of the nation, and it was writing that night. Fate of our nation, our democracy, our Constitution, our system of checks and balances, the exquisite beauty of our Constitution, the genius of a system of checks and balances. The president seems to be emulating a French king who said, "État c'est moi, the state, it's me." No. Article 2 does not say you can do whatever you want.
And Trump didn't do whatever he wanted. Now, I'm going to stop it there because, that is the part that we were supposed to listen to. Although it is interesting to play it all, but it's 20 minutes. No way I'm going to play that. And there's no way I would torture you with playing it. So if you want to see that, it is out there on YouTube under Pelosi claims Trump violated the Constitution in her weekly press briefing. And she also stated that the lawyers were there for sole purpose of dismantling the Constitution. Alrighty then. Crazy. Really, this lady, I don't know. I've never seen the likes of this. I mean, I know Hillary's bad, and I know that she is a liar. If her mouth is open, she's lying. But Pelosi's given her a run for her money. Really, I would say that they're like blood sisters or something. I don't know, but anyway, not really. But okay, let's go back now. And let's come down to the next one. This is drop 3810, and title is To Be Determined. And what we're going to do is we're going to go out here to the link. This is just simply a link. And it's interesting what Lisa May Crowley has to say. She says, yesterday, General Flynn filed a motion to dismiss his case. He said, I did not lie. DOJ wanted up to 6 months of prison, but today recommended probation only. Tomorrow, Freedom Day. Brexit, POTUS acquittal, Flynn case dismissed. Well, I haven't heard. Now, obviously, Brexit happened today. No doubt about that. POTUS was not acquitted today, unless I've missed something very, very important. And Flynn case was not dismissed. They have put it over to next Wednesday. But let's take a look at this. From Fox, and this is from yesterday. It says DOJ relents, said it would accept probation for Michael Flynn as he moves to withdraw guilty plea. Well, he's withdrawing his guilty plea, meaning he's not guilty. Well, we know he's not guilty. He did not do what they said he did. And, you know, they wanted jail time for him, but now they're saying, well, probation will be okay. But why should he face anything? I mean, what he's lost during all this, just paying for his lawyers alone, he has lost so much, plus the honor of his good name. So, yeah. The Department of Justice backed down from seeking jail time Wednesday and made clear that prosecutors would accept mere probation in the case of former Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, a shift that comes as Flynn moves to withdraw his guilty plea, leveraging accusations of government misconduct. Just weeks ago, the DOJ said it would seek up to 6 months of prison time for the retired Army Lieutenant General who spent just 24 days at his post in the Trump administration. Represented by an aggressive new attorney, Flynn, days later, moved to withdraw his guilty plea for making false statements to 2 FBI agents in 2017, statements that eventually wrapped him up in former Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election. In truth, I never lied, Flynn wrote in a new supplemental motion to withdraw his guilty plea filed Wednesday. My guilty plea has rankled me through this process, and while I allowed myself to succumb to the threats from the government to save my family, I believe I was grossly misled about what really happened. Flynn also blamed his former lawyers for providing him with bad information that led him to plead guilty. One of the ways a person becomes a 3-star general is by being a good soldier, taking orders, being part of a team, and trusting the people who provide information and support, Flynn wrote. Lori and I trusted Mr. Kellner and Mr. Anthony to guide us through the most stressful experience in our lives in a completely incomprehensible situation. I have never felt more powerless. While the DOJ's stance is technically the same, it is seeking a sentence of 0 to 6 months. The department's new filing makes clear that it would not oppose a sentence imposing 0 jail time if that is what the judge decides. In support of a potential sentence of probation, the government notes 2 similarly situated high-ranking officials who committed similar crimes and got probation. Former National Security Advisor Sandy Berger, who stole classified information, then lied about it to investigators, investigators, and General David Petraeus, who was convicted of possessing classified documents he should not have had. Both were sentenced to probation. It was not clear why the Justice Department appeared to soften its position though prosecutors did suggest Flynn deserves credit for his decades-long military service. There is no dispute that the defendant has an unusually strong record of public service, prosecutors wrote. Prosecutors initially were in favor of probation due to Flynn's level of cooperation with the government, but Flynn replaced his lawyers with new ones who have taken a far more adversarial approach in the case, including in their declaration in a supplemental motion Wednesday as he sought to withdraw his guilty plea. In a sweeping argument that took aim at the Bureau's outrageous conduct, Flynn's legal team highlighted a slew of information that has come to light since Flynn's plea, including that no precise record of Flynn's statements to the agents exists and that the original handwritten FD 302 witness report from the interview is missing, with subsequent versions later edited in some undisclosed manner by anti-Trump FBI officials. Moreover, Flynn's team maintained he had no reason to lie about his communications with the Russian ambassador concerning how the country should respond to sanctions imposed by the Obama administration or a then pending vote on Israel in the United Nations, the conversations that put him on the FBI's radar and he later pleaded guilty for lying about. After all, Flynn said he knew federal officials routinely monitor, record, and transcribe conversations like the ones he had with Russian diplomats. The DOJ made clear in its Wednesday filing, however, it was opposed to granting Flynn a sentence lighter than probation. Defendant Flynn has affirmed his guilt of this crime on multiple occasions before multiple district judges, and he does not directly contest it in his supplemental sentencing memorandum, the filing says. Accordingly, the relevant facts are before the court to impose an appropriate sentence for the offense of conviction. The Justice Department says that Flynn did provide assistance to their investigation and that a judge may consider that in fashioning a sentence. Any claims of acceptance of responsibility are hard to reconcile with his request to withdraw his guilty plea. Flynn is due to be sentenced on February 27th, and I hope he is acquitted for real. Yeah. Anyway, let's go back now and see the next one, which is post 3811. And again, it is a link to Rand Paul's Twitter account, and I have clipped that out for our viewing pleasure. This Senator Rand Paul, my question today is about whether or not individuals who were holdovers from the Obama National Security Council and Democrat partisans conspired with Schiff staffers to plot impeaching the president before there were formal House impeachment proceedings. He's saying they were talking about this, and he's making it as a question, but really, we know that that's the truth, that before there ever was these impeachment articles, they were plotting, really from the day he took office and probably before. So, yeah, they were talking about this all along, about impeaching the president. So they were going to find a reason. It wasn't like, they were like, oh no, he's fine. We'll just let him be. No. They knew way back then. It wasn't like they were going to just let him be, and all of a sudden he committed something and they got together to impeach him. It wasn't like that at all. They've been planning this all along. They had a backup plan, a insurance policy called Crossfire Hurricane, and that is what they had put into play. So interesting. And we are on to the next one. And this is 3812. Again, this is from yesterday. And Q is just putting the one that we just looked at, 3811. He is just bringing that up again and adding more links. And he says, remember these names. So let's go take a look at the names that we are supposed to remember. And let's look at these two tweets by Paul Speary. All right, Michael Carpenter, and this is Eric, the, I can't say his full name because they are really monitoring that. So I could call him the Carmel. So yeah, that's him right there, and Michael Carpenter. Then let's go over to the next one. Here is Michael Carpenter and Joe Biden, and this was the infamous where he said, if the prosecutor is not fired, you're not getting the money, Joe Biden. So here we have him with Joe Biden. Well, isn't that interesting? Now let's look at the other link that Q has provided. Also Paul Speary. And what do we have here? Well, whoops, hang on here. It says, breaking, the Carmel, the CIA operative believed to be the whistleblower, is captured in this 2015 photo taking notes between Biden advisor Michael Carpenter and NSC's Liz Zentos in White House meeting with Ukrainian officials. Carpenter later appeared with Biden in infamous son of a bitch video. We all know what that one was. So, interesting. So I guess those are the two names that we need to remember. So hang on here. Let's go back here. Let's find the first one. So the two names again are Michael Carpenter and the alleged whistleblower, whose name we're already quite familiar with. All right, and let's go back. And let's look at this by D. Oppresso Lieber, SunQ2 on Twitter. Looks like Misko and Eric, CIA Mella, were the two NSC employees who were leaking top secret intel. Were they also part of the meeting in the skiff by the Democrat operatives after POTUS won 2016 election? Bet they were. Eric answered to Brennan, House of Cards is tumbling. Oh, yes, it is. And Q is telling us, remember these names. Two big names. All right, let's go on. And here we are at the next one, 3813, and another link. And Q says, worth remembering. Q. So let's go take a look at what Q thinks that it's worth remembering, what Q thinks is worth remembering. Watch Representative Ratcliffe tell Maria Bartiromo why Schiff is hiding the 18th transcript. I hope this comes out tomorrow. The American people need to know about the Atkinson transcript. So let's take a listen. This is 1 minute and 21 seconds, and we're going to listen to it in its entirety.
That the House prosecutors had for this, but you have not seen all 18 transcripts. Is that right?
That's exactly right, Maria. The House managers kept putting up charts talking about the 17 witnesses, but there were 18. The 18th was the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community, Michael Atkinson. He was the second witness interviewed on October 4th. I was there. It's the one transcript out of 18 that hasn't been released. It's a 179-page transcript, and you can bet that if that transcript was helpful to Adam Schiff and the Democrats and harmful to President Trump, everyone would have seen it by now. But instead, it's just the opposite. It's the one transcript that talks about Adam Schiff and the whistleblower. Now, everyone knows by now that Adam Schiff was not truthful about his contacts with the whistleblower. What they don't know, and what's in that transcript, is that the whistleblower wasn't truthful about his contacts with Adam Schiff. This whole thing started, Maria, when a whistleblower filed a complaint with the Inspector General under penalty of perjury that wasn't true and correct, made representations in writing and then verbally that weren't true and correct. And when we found that out and tried to get into the details of that, Adam Schiff, who was in charge of this investigation, shut it down, and now he's trying to bury that transcript.
He's a piece of work, that Adam Schiff. A real piece of work. Yeah, so Q says that this is worth remembering. All right. And here we are, 3814. And this is Q has posted a post from earlier, April 27th, 2018. And this is an interesting post. It says, now remember, this is a year ago, more than a year, almost a year ago, rather. No, wait. Yeah, no. It's more than a year ago. Okay. Yeah, I'll be all right. Done in 30. 30, remember that? None of us really knew what that meant, done in 30. Done in 30. 30 is in the kill brackets. Report backs claim that FBI agents did not think Flynn lied despite guilty plea. Why would Flynn plead guilty to something untrue? Define testimony. Define on record. Who knows where the bodies are buried? Flynn is safe. Expand your thinking. Q. Today, and underneath, Q has put the following. Today is January 30th. Coincidences are fun. Thanks, DOJ. Q. So, I don't know. It says done in 30. So is it already done? Is Flynn safe? Is that what he's telling us? After all, Flynn knows where the bodies are buried. So I don't know, because it doesn't seem like it's done to me. They still have the sentencing of that, but really seems to me that Q is saying it's done. Today's January the 30th. Coincidences are fun. Thanks, DOJ. Well, he's thanking the DOJ for something. So now this is interesting. Really, it is. And you've got January 30th, 2020, which was yesterday, and you've got this post by Q. There's a 3-year delta here, too. When this was posted, January 30th, 2017, a Justice Department memo exonerates Flynn of any collusion with Russia, but it's never turned over as exculpatory evidence in his defense. And today is January the 30th. Coincidences are fun. Thanks, DOJ. So, and it says this, a bombshell revelation was barely noticed at National Security Advisor Michael Flynn's hearing Tuesday. Now, this is back in January of 2017. So a bombshell revelation was barely noticed at National Security Advisor Michael Flynn's hearing Tuesday when his counsel revealed in court the existence of a Justice Department memo from January 30th, 2017, exonerating Flynn of any collusion with Russia. The memo, which has still not been made available to Flynn's attorney, Sidney Powell, is part of a litany of Brady material she is demanding from prosecutors. The memo is currently under a protective order, and Powell is working with prosecutors to get it disclosed, Sarah A. Carter has learned. So, yeah, very interesting. It says U.S. District Court Judge Emmett Sullivan presided over the hearing Tuesday and set a tentative December 18th sentencing date. He told the prosecutor and defense that the sentencing date could be moved depending on the outcome of requests for Brady material requested by Powell and how the case will unfold in the upcoming months. Sullivan also noted during the hearing that the Brady order takes precedence over the plea agreement. If Comey would have advised Trump of the January 30th memo, it would have cleared up any unfounded lies that Flynn had in any way colluded or conspired with Russia. If and when this memo is made public, the ongoing narrative continuing to be pushed by those former Obama officials, as well as House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff, who continues to push for hearings on obstruction, will be squashed. It looks like Comey, who would have been fully aware of this memo, has a lot of explaining to do. So that was January 30, 2017. 3 years later, we've got this reminding us of this that came out in April of April 27th, 2018, done in 30. And Flynn is safe, expand your thinking. Then Q is reminding us today is January 30th. Coincidences are fun. Thanks, DOJ. So I would imagine that some sort of resolution has been reached. And even though they're saying, yeah, we're not going to push for jail time, just maybe probation, I think it's got to be better than that. I mean, he shouldn't even really do probation because the man is not guilty. But I don't know. Time will tell, and we'll have to see what transpires. Now, we are on to the 31st of January. Now, I'm going to stop, and I'm going to stop it there, and I'm going to do today's Q posts, in a separate video, because I've got another few things to go over as well. Then I've got another video on the virus. So there you go. I'm going to stop it there. I'm going to thank the people that I need to thank, and then I'll be right back with another video. As this is uploading, I will be completing the second video. All right, now to the wonderful people that make this possible, and I mean that truly. There's no advertising on this site, so it's just by the goodwill of others, and it's very much appreciated. So we've got coffee donors, Grace Lady, D. Parker, Mark Van Buren, Tropical Glamour Girl, Elizabeth, Anna, Colleen Stubblefield, Cynthia Scholar. Now, I've neglected to do this for a few days, so they're counting up. But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Then Patreon, Kim Harveston increased her pledge, and we got a new Patreon supporter, Shay Watson. Thank you. And Snail Mail. Now that stuff's fun. I'm just going to say it. It's just fun. I don't know what it is about snail mail. I guess it's such a novelty these days because, most people just email and so forth. But getting a card from someone and opening it and seeing their handwriting and stuff, it's just, there's something so personal about that. Anyway, Samantha Wales, and thank you for sharing that. I will look into it. I do know exactly what you're talking about, believe it or not, because I have looked into that myself. So yeah, I think I will look into that further and do something on that. Also, Tina B. from Medina, New York. Thank you for your computer advice. I appreciate it. It is fixed. I did do what you said, and I also reinstalled the drivers, and my computer is working absolutely fine. No more problems with the cursor. But thank you very, very much. And Claudia K. from Oregon, she sent a card and donation. And also, those of you that are believers, please remember her dog Bear. She's had this dog for 10 years, and it's her closest friend, companion, and the dog has cancer. So please pray for her dog Bear, and I am doing that as well. So anyway, and thank you, Claudia, for the donation and the wonderful card. I appreciate that. And Philip and Christine sent me some really cute, cool, like the gemstones and stuff. Like the one is obsidian, and the other one is crystal quartz in the shape of a cat, and the other one, I forgot what it's for. I forgot the name of it. But anyway, thank you. And she also sent me a big Q that she had painted. And I thank you very, very much, Philip and Christine. I very much appreciate that. And Sharon N. from California, she sent me a wonderful card, and she drew me a little picture. That was fun. Anyway, thank you guys so much. And you guys have a wonderful evening. I'm going to be back. No, really, I am. So I hope you'll come back and join me. Thank you. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed. And that's right. Keep seeking truth.